Hello everyone, welcome to this particular video. If you're preparing for the AZ300 or 303, you probably need to know about virtual network peering. And in this particular video, we're gonna just create the peering section. So here is kind of the requirement that I have got right now. So we're gonna create a virtual network in the West US. I'm gonna assign an address space. Then it's going to be deployed in the West US, and we'll create a front-end subnet in there and a back-end subnet. Okay, once that's done, we are going to go ahead and create another VNET which is going to be deployed in the East US, and I'm going to create only one subnet in there, and that is called the front-end subnet. Once this is done, we'll also create a gateway public IP, and once that's done, we're just gonna add some peering to these two virtual networks. Okay, so let's see what to do. So let's just go over here, let's go to our Azure instance, and we're gonna search for so in this one I'm not really gonna create any virtual machine or anything like that. I'm just gonna create the network. Okay, so virtual network, and click on add, and I'll try to do very fast. If you want to follow, maybe slow down the video, at least I'll try to make it very fast. So over here, what is the resource group? Let's create a new resource group. I'm gonna copy this, create new, and put it here. Hit OK. We got it. Name West US is what I'm gonna use for this one, and since it's the West, I'm gonna use the West US. Now in the IP address range, I'm gonna get rid of this, and I'm gonna define my own IP address range, 10.10.00.20. Come on, here, and I don't have any subnet here, so this is the subnet I'm going to create. Front-end subnet, add subnet. I'm going to call this the front-end subnet, and this is going to use the IP address of a smaller set. Okay, let's see, oh, subnet name is wrong. It should be the front-end subnet. Come on, let's see, front-end subnet, got the IP address. Nothing else is required, so click enter. So at the same time, I'm also going to create the backend subnet for this virtual network as well. So let's get the back end subnet. Backend, my copy function is not working very well, so let's see if this one does it properly. So we got it. So that looks good. So add. So what we're going to deploy right now, we're creating the IP for address space is this. That's a larger set of IPs, and now we're breaking these IPs, and we're creating two subnets where we are selecting 255 IPs assigned to the front end subnet that's going to use 10.10.124 network address range, and another one, the backend subnet, 10.10.2024 subnet address range. I think that's all is required for this virtual network. So let's go ahead and create it. Once that's done, we'll go ahead and create the other virtual network. Alright, the deployment is complete. It just took like 2 minutes maybe, and it's all done. You can go to the resource group, and you should see that there is the virtual network that's been created. So right now I'm going to create another virtual network in here. Virtual network, and this time I'm going to create the next one, which is going to be the East US location. This is good. Yeah, so here we're going to choose the East US because we want to create in a completely different region. And for the IP address range, we are going to use 10.20.00, and notice that it's different than what we used in the West US region. Alright, so let's delete this. We don't need that. We create a new IP address, and in this particular virtual network I just need a front-end subnet. So copy that, add a subnet, call it a front-end subnet, and we're using 10.21.0.24 IP address. Okay, and then add. So you got the subnet for the other network. So let's go back, make sure everything looks good. I'm happy with it. Just say review and create. So that should create the other virtual network for you. And let's see. Yeah, so the deployment is underway. Again, you can look at how everything is going from here. So you can now go to the resource. This is the virtual network. You can go back to the resource group, and it should say the resource group is still not populated. Refresh. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time for the other resource that you have just deployed to show up. You can see that it says 2 succeeded. So 2 deployments we have done has been successful. It's just the East US is not showing up yet. Okay, now it showed up. And if you look at the East US is saying it's deployed in the East region, and the West US is deployed in the West US. Okay, so let's see what else we need to do. Alright, I think we are ready for peering. And for peering, you can pretty much, you are really peering 2 different virtual networks. So by default, your virtual networks is like a security boundary. You cannot talk outside to another virtual network, even within an Azure network. Okay, so by default, if I deploy one machine within VNET West US and another machine in VNET East US, they cannot talk to each other. Now there are multiple ways to make them work, make them talk to each other, and one of the easiest way is to use the peering. And for peering, it doesn't matter where these virtual networks are hosted. It could be same region, completely in a different region. You can still use the virtual network peering, and it's a offering from Microsoft where it's going to use the Microsoft backbone to communicate. So I like that feature a lot, really. So what we need to do, you can go to any of these virtual networks and go to the peering section. So come over here and go down to the peering. And right now there is no peering, so you just click on add, and it's going to ask peering from East US to remote virtual networks. So you can do like something like to VNET, and you can call West US. Okay. And once, okay, so this is what virtual network you're gonna do. You're going to this particular network, right? Name of the VNET West US to VNET East US. So this is what you want. So let's copy this. So West US to VNET East US. So let's use the same naming convention. Let's make it 2, so it's readable. So the first, we are saying that we are creating both to and fro, both networks, from East US to West US is going to create a path, and from West US to East US is going to create another path. Okay. Allow virtual network from VNET East US access to West US. Yes. Allow West US to East US access. Yes. Enable. Now this one I'm going to leave it disabled for now. If you are deploying a router or a virtual appliance, you probably will need one of these enabled. Okay, but for now I'm just going to leave them disabled, and pretty much that's all you need. And just hit OK, and it should create the peering between those two networks. Okay, and looks like it's already done. So here's the network that we created, and we created this peering from the VNet East US. Okay, so you can click on that. It says, look at the name, it says VNet East US to VNet West US. You can click on it. It's gonna give you all the options that we have. Okay, and go back. It says peering status is connected. Gateway we have not created, so that's why it's disabled. And look, go back to your resource group and take a look at the other VNet. We haven't created anything here, but if you go to the peering, it should have created the other, so other peer. And look at the difference in your name. It's VNet West US to VNet East US, and this is also connected. So this is how easy it is to create virtual network peering, and now both network can talk to each other just fine. Alright, since the virtual peering is done, let's go ahead and create a public address, IP address that we can use for a gateway if we want to use gateway for our traffic. So let's go back to our Azure, and over here let's just search for public IP and click on it, and I have no IPs configured, so click add again, and it should let me some options. IP4 basic is fine. Name, let's see if I have any. Let's call it a gateway public IP, just to make sure that we know what it is, why this IP is needed. IP address, I'm gonna keep it as dynamic for now. Anytime you can go and change it to static. DNS name level, if you want to use it, it has to be a unique value. So let's see. He didn't copy, but this is not a required parameter, so I can just leave it off as well. Resource group, I'm going to put it in the same resource group that I have been using. Now where do we want to, so let's put it in the West US. Okay, and hit OK. So the deployment has started as soon as the validation was completed, and there we go. So now we have IP address. From here on the overview blade of the public IP, you can go to the configuration, and if you want to create a DNS record, you can also supply that information in here, and you should be able to add that record in here. Okay, and just save it. So this already is telling me that weird name is available, so if I want I can save it, but yeah, I'm not doing anything here for now. So so far what we have, we got the IP address as well. So let's just go back to the resource group one last time, and let's see. So I have two virtual network, and I got one IP address, and since I made this a dynamic IP address, this IP address will be assigned when it's needed. Alright, finally what we want to do is to create and configure a gateway, and we're going to deploy that in the West US region, and we're going to select a VPN Gateway, route based, and we're going to use VPN Gateway 1 SKU and generation 1. Okay, I'm going to deploy that within the virtual network West US. And for whenever you are creating any gateways or firewalls, you have to create a dedicated subnet for them, and we're going to assign a subnet address as 10.10.30.24. So let's get to that point. So let's go back to the resource group, and well, let's come over here and do gateway So VPN, so virtual network gateway, is what we want. So let's click on that one and create a virtual network gateway. And let's see, select a virtual network. So it's route based VPN. It's going to be in West US. Where is my West US? What is it saying? Yeah, West US. Instance details, we have a name, it's a gateway East US. Let's get that one, put it in here. It's a VPN, that's what we wanted. Route based is what we wanted. SKU VPN GW1 is what we wanted. Generation 1 is what we want, and looks like VPN GW1 only supports generation 1. Now virtual network, which one? In that region I only have VNET West US, so let's get that one. And now is asking us what is the gateway subnet address range. So we decided that we're going to use this as our address range, so let's put in there. And public IP address, create new or existing. So since we have created a one gateway IP, so we're gonna click that one and see that it's automatically populated the gateway public IP in here. And rest, we are just using the default values. So now we can review and create So what we have really done in this particular video, we have created two different virtual networks, and we have done a virtual network peering. Then I have also shown you how to create public IP address, and at the end we have also created a gateway subnet and assigned the public IP that we have created to that gateway subnet. Okay, so one thing you have not seen is the subnet. So one other thing I want to show you before we end this video, as soon as this deployment is done, you should see a different subnet in addition to what we had in the West US region, that should show up. So let's go see what is going on in that in this particular virtual network. So what I expect to see is a new subnet, and that is called the gateway subnet. Okay, so remember when we only created a front end and the back end subnet. Anytime you are deploying a virtual network gateway, a firewall, anything like that, you gotta have a dedicated subnet, and always the naming convention is like the gateway subnet. Okay, either you can create it to begin with, or when you create, at the time of creation, it will create the dedicated subnet for your resources. Okay, so that's kind of the end of this video. In the next video we'll probably continue this lab and try to use the resources to do some stuff. But in this exercise, in this lab, we have covered a bunch of exam objectives. I think other videos that are more detailed than this, but this where I have actually deployed multiple machines and actually proven that your connection is now successful. But this is kind of what keep you get started, let you get started, and just play with peering and play with creation of public IPs and gateway subnet and get your hands dirty. All right, with that, good luck learning Azure. Enjoy, leave your comment, and subscribe and share. Thank you.